Welcome back to another explainer. Today, we are tackling a real biological head-scratcher that plagues fish keepers everywhere, identifying the gender of hybrid parrot cichlids. It is notoriously difficult to pin down, but today we're going to break down exactly why that is, and more importantly, how to actually solve it using some pretty straightforward methods. Okay, let's dive into this. Part 1, the parrot-cichlid mystery, solving the gender puzzle. So here's the ultimate question. How do you tell a boy fish from a girl fish? I mean, it kind of sounds like the setup to a joke, right? But if you're trying to manage a healthy aquarium, it's a very real challenge that requires accurate answers. Picture this. You're wandering through the glowing aisles of your local aquarium store. That is exactly where fellow enthusiast Ang found themselves when they spotted something super specific, a bonded pair of white parrot cichlids. Watching them swim around together, this classic dilemma just bubbled right up. How in the world could Ang confirm which one was the male and which was the female just by looking at them? Well, that single encounter actually sparked a much deeper investigation into the surprisingly tricky world of hybrid fish identification. Section 2, the color trap, when visual cues deceive. Look, we humans are totally visual creatures, and in the aquarium hobby, that instinct can actually get us into a lot of trouble. For the longest time, Ang relied on this one specific visual cue. It was the orangish pigmentation right at the tail. The female in that bonded pair they saw, she displayed this exact coloring, which makes it incredibly tempting to just adopt as a hardened fast rule. You see an orange tail, boom, it's a female. It seems perfectly logical. Well, actually, scratch that. It's not exactly true. As Ang noted in a previous observation, male parrot cichlids also exhibit this exact same tail pigmentation. To quote Ang directly here, this is not a sure trait for accurate identification. The rule is literally completely broken, so relying on that little flash of orange is really nothing more than a color trap, and it's just going to leave you with a tank full of mysteries. Section 3, why hybrids break rules, the science of deception. To really understand this deception, we've got to look at something called sexual dimorphism. Basically, these are the distinct visual differences between males and females of a single species. But here's the massive biological catch. According to the research, hybrid fish, like our parrot cichlids, completely lack this predictable trait. Now, what's really interesting about this is that these hybrids aren't just blank slates. Confusingly, they still retain trace amounts of orange or yellow pigments around their fins or their face. And these residual colors, they act like a total false flag. They trick fish keepers into thinking, aha, I've spotted a reliable gender marker, when in reality, they absolutely haven't. And this brilliantly illustrates the real root of the problem: selective breeding versus natural evolution. Think about it. In nature, evolution painstakingly crafts these distinct gender colors over thousands of years, right? For mating, for survival. But parrot cichlids, they're human-made hybrids. Because they're selectively bred in captivity, their genetic traits are basically just tossed in a blender. They lose those reliable, evolved gender colors and are just left with these confusing, random trace pigments instead. We essentially engineered the sexual dimorphism right out of them. Section 4, reliable anatomical clues, looking beyond the colors. So if color is totally out the window, what actually works? Well, Ang suggests resorting to 3 reliable anatomical traits instead. We're looking at size, elongated fins, and the vent, that's the genital area. By directly examining the anatomy, you bypass all that hybrid color confusion entirely and just get straight to the cold, hard facts. Let's move to Section 5 and see how this builds. The matchmaker method, let the fish decide. Sometimes, honestly, the absolute best way to figure out biology is to just let nature take the wheel. So the crucial point is this highly actionable hack. Step 1, set up an artificial cave right in the tank. Step 2, just sit back, relax, and watch the dominant fish pair up. Instead of squinting at tiny trace pigments or trying to measure fins, just give them a nice romantic cave and let their natural pairing behavior reveal the truth for you. So we've solved the mystery of identifying the parrot cichlid, right? But looking at this bigger picture, it leaves us with a massive, fascinating question to chew on. How much has human intervention actually changed the reliable natural traits of our aquarium friends? I mean, when we selectively breed for these unique shapes and cool colors, we're literally rewriting the evolutionary rulebook. And we leave behind these biological mysteries, like the completely vanished sexual dimorphism of the cichlid. It really makes you look at that aquarium sitting in your living room in a whole new light, doesn't it? Keep a very close eye on the biology in your own tanks, and until our next explainer, keep learning.